Now, where you might have been thinking, this all seems pretty familiar, we've done this kind of stuff before, we're about to look at the new sequencing method that we're using with Ableton to get these multiple voices. Then I promise we'll look at that bass sound. So to do that, basically we can start in Ableton, and we need to sequence in the snare part. So where we have our kick track here, a MIDI track, I'm going to rename this MIDI track to snare. And we need to put in a snare part. And if we watch the video, we will see very simple 2 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. So in Ableton, we can put that. It doesn't really matter, again, what note we put it on, because we're not really going to use the pitch information too much. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And now the MIDI out is going to the ISC driver bus again, but instead of channel 1 this time, it's going to channel 2. This is basically why channels in the MIDI protocol were invented. So now what we can do is start to duplicate a lot of this voice. Let's start by duplicating the label. Bring it down here. Might spread these out a little bit more later on, but we'll see. So this is going to be our snare voice, or snare part, snare. Next thing we need to duplicate is the MIDI module. So click on it and press Command D. And again here, instead of it, ISC driver is still correct, ISC driver bus, but instead of channel 1, we're going to take channel 2. For our snare, we're going to need the same VCO. We're going to need another, we could use a filter, why not? We don't have to use it. We can have it there, we can have our ADSR, we can have our VCA, and we can have our scope. One extra thing we are going to need is definitely some noise. So this is where our voices will start to look different, and we'll start to rearrange things. We've done, in the past, we've created snare sounds before, and to do that, we needed our VCO to give us our bass tone mixed in with some noise. So because I said mixed in, we're going to need a mixer to combine these two sounds. Here's that mixer. And then we're also going to need the noise module. So here's noise. Great. So these are our two tone generators or sound generators, our VCO and the noise. Like I said, I'm going to space these out a little bit now so we don't have hanging cables over the top. But now that you've seen, it's basically a similar setup. Let's put it down here. And how do you set this up? This is up to you. This is all part of the fun. So these are all our bits. And we're going to take let's take the sine output again for now into one side of the mixer. So we're going to blend the sine output from our mixer and let's take some white noise and pop it in as well. So now we've got two sound sources that are going to create our snare sound. Take the output of those combined tones or sounds, put it into our filter. Take the low pass output of our filter and put it into our amplifier. Take the output of that amplifier and put it into our mixer. So now we have, there's our sweet snare sound. Let's put an end to that by taking the output of the ADSR and plugging it into the CV input on the VCA. Thank goodness for that. You can refer back to the connections here, but we're going to take the gate output from the MIDI module and put that into the gate input on the ADSR. So let's take that. And that'll not obviously, but just to remind you, that sends a gate message, or just a gate message each time a note is on and off in our MIDI clip in Ableton. We also took the retrigger output and put it into the retrigger input on the ADSR for good measure. And then because these features are nice, we can also take that envelope and connect it to the frequency input on the VCF and the FM input on the VCF, just in case you want to use that too. So it's basically exactly the same. So FM to ADSR and frequency on the VCF to ADSR. Exactly the same as our kick voice, except we've just added noise. And to add that noise, we needed to add a mixer to mix those two sounds together. Let's start with that. So now in Ableton, if I just want to work on the kick sound, I could mute it. Oh, let's just press play here. There we go. We can see our snare is sending MIDI. That's coming through. Cool. Why aren't we getting anything? Because I turned down both of our oscillator and our noise here. turn up the VCF all the way and just double click on that frequency CV knob. So in this setting, in this configuration, this filter is currently doing nothing, which is kind of what we want at the moment. That way we can slowly turn up the noise. Awesome. There we go. So we've got that. Again, we can play with, at the moment, we've just got the noise, and we can play with the ADSR. If I double click on that and double click on that. Currently not hearing the VCO because that is down on the mixer. So we're just hearing the noise. And this ADSR is just controlling our VCO. So if we increase the decay time, cool. And then we can add in some of that that snare sound, the oscillator. So you can hear that kind of the resonant tone that you get from a drum. We can pitch that. You can find the spot that kind of works best for you, and also dial in a little bit of FM frequency modulation. There we go. And just take note of which lights are lighting up on your ADSR as well, because if the release knob is release stage is being used, you might want to adjust that as well to kind of shorten the tail. Take the output of the VCA and put it into the scope. There we go. Cool. Again, you might want to start, once you get to this stage, kind of playing with not only the snare voice, but your kick voice as well, to kind of have, like, kind of tune that a little bit more. Now that it's kind of coming together. Kind of get the right bass frequency. Maybe a little bit more filter envelope. Just have a play around. Cool. All right. So there's our two voices, kick and snare, going into our mixer. It is bass time. See you in the next video.